What's up? What's up? What's up, bro?
Hello.
I'm good, man. Corinthian, it's the season 1 finale, man.
Man, this the grand finale, man. Believe it?
Corinthian, I really can't believe it. I mean, we done over 30 some odd episodes, man.
Man, 30 episodes, man. Time fly when you having fun.
Hey, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Listen, I went out today. I had to get my car serviced, and then it was just me and the boys. I get a lot of Black elderly people come up to me when I'm out with the boys, and I'm gonna say young man. He came and he said, "I just want to shake your hand and tell you that you're doing a great job." And but this happens more than you think. I did a post about it on Facebook today. And I get stopped all the time, but we got to make this normal. I don't want to be an anomaly. I definitely don't want to be a stereotype, but I don't want to be an anomaly either. This should be normal. But I get a lot of elderly people that come up to me and say, you're doing a good job. They're happy to see this and everything like that. So
yeah, man, normalize # Black Deads Matter.
Yeah, there we go.
People can get the proof is in the pudding.
Yes,
so you had a good day, man. I had a great day today. Good. Today, well, first I got off work early, and then when I got off, I went to campus to pick up my.
You got it. You got the diploma.
Look, you got it. Look, I got my. But your boy got a 4 for 4.
Oh, 4 for 4. You got the junior bacon cheeseburger and the nuggets, fries, and the drink.
I was blessed to get my my master's in public administration and graduate certificates in city county management, nonprofit management, and public finance. And got my transcript today as well. So when you get your transcript, that means you're paid.
Yeah. You done paid your Hey, Corinthian, we're not gonna talk about, but we rude right now, but we're not gonna talk about because you had to help me 1 year in college. You was a college student and I couldn't pay my the end of my semester. But that's for season 2. We'll talk about that later. Corinthian, we got a special guest in the room tonight, Corinthian. It looked like she coming all the way from the White House. I'm talking about, how they got the China room, the red room in the White House?
Yeah. The only reason I showed my credentials is because Dr. Banks, all her stuff.
Corinthian, I'm talking about she in the back room, Corinthian.
I just held mine up. She got her stuff framed. I can see it.
Corinthian, we have Corinthian, we got Dr. Bahby Banks up in here with us tonight.
Hey, Arthur, I'm so excited, man, because look, it's a couple things. So for my viewing audience, you looking at all products of Newport News Public Schools.
There we go.
Uptown Newport News, Denby area. All right. 2 out of the 3 are Denby High School Patriot graduates. And, unfortunately, now I'm playing.
And then there's another one.
You know what? We just gonna go ahead and go. Hey, world.
And then there's that new school that was built around 96.
That new school, you exactly right. That new Thanks.
That's funny.
How are you doing, Dr. Banks?
I'm good. It has been a long day, but I am here. I teach every Thursday night, so this is the second to last class on today. But good. I got outside. I got some fresh air. Talked to a lot of my friends over the course of the day. Just silliness.
Yeah.
Silliness. And continuing to do the good work. So
hey,
I'm playing.
You doing your thing. You doing your thing. What subjects do you teach?
The class is called Conceptualizing Public Health Solutions, which basically means everything that they read in their textbooks, we bring to life. So my good friend and colleague brought me, it's her course. And so I facilitate the sessions, and it's everything from how to get good data, really thinking about race and racism and structures and cultural humility and systems and all of that. So it's 13 weeks. I'm in week 12. This is a powerful section I'm teaching right now. They're no joke.
Yeah,
Wow.
everything you just said is probably a class I wouldn't have signed up for. No, I mean, if you were teaching, I probably would have signed up for it. But I'm just
You know what we seen.
yeah,
Racism and health and advocacy. It's like advocacy and policy and health.
Okay, I love it.
Dr. Berry, can you please, for the viewing audience, drop? Look, I'm gonna use some of your language. Can you drop the credentials? Where you teaching that subject? I mean, we want from Denby to current now, where you teaching classes.
There you go. Well, number one, let's not be confused. Anytime folks read my credentials, I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I'm Dorothy's child.
Okay,
that's who I am. I'm Robert's namesake, but I'm Dorothy's child. I eat, live, and breathe, and my mannerisms are like my late mother. So want to acknowledge her and my father, Robert Banks. So I'm the Bahby, named after Robert. So I left Denby High School and went to the illustrious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
Yep, fam, the Rattlers.
Okay. I studied biology there. I was going to be a veterinarian, honestly, but through conversations with family, was like, oh, well, I'll be a doctor because animals aren't good enough, but haters. Anyway, I knew I was good at math and science. I always have been, like my entire life. I don't know about other classes, but math and science, I was good. Okay. So the only thing I knew was like medicine or engineering, right? And engineering seemed really boring, and medicine was fun. It reminded me of like helping my mom study. She used to have her nursing books in her closet in her bedroom. I used to help her study. So I ended up finding about, long story short, this field called public health. And I was like, this is it. This is the field that I've been looking for. And since I knew I was good in math and science, I chose epidemiology and biostatistics. So I left Florida A&M. I taught for about 1.5 years in Atlanta, worked in the mall. I had a real nice wardrobe. I worked at the Limited. And then went to Boston University, and I got my master's in epidemiology and biostatistics. And I saw exactly what we're seeing right now in this pandemic, right? We're just watching numbers, right? And so after a couple semesters, I was just like, when do we move? Like, when does the creativity and innovation come in? Because I'm ready. And so I ended up pursuing my PhD in health behavior at UNC Chapel Hill School of Public Health, and it's now named Gillings, the UNC Gillings School of Global Public Health, and that's where I'm an associate adjunct. Adjunct assistant professor. I'm not associate anything.
Black excellence.
So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Like, listen, when you talk, all you just, I mean, you don't even really have to say anything. Like, and so I understand why you don't even have to go over your credentials. Once you step in the room, everybody's gonna know. Like, this is something special right here.
No, let me get it right. All Dr. Banks has to do is say, check my CV.
Yeah, there. Okay.
See, but I don't go there. I really try not to go there, my friend. I was telling my friend the other day, you would never know until you take me there. And then I have to say, like, oh, okay. Well, now you address me as,
there we go. Well, to be
I'm Bahby from Denby High School.
To be a leader in your field, do you feel like, obviously being Black, female, do you ever feel that you have to, kind of go above and beyond to show, I don't want to say show your worth, but like to show like, I belong in the same room as you. Have you ever experienced that problem in your course of education, in your course of teaching, professorship, anything like that?
I told you I'm going to behave today. Well, this is what the pandemic brought home for me.
Okay.
And I say this boldly now. I'm a brilliant Black woman.
Ooh, I love it.
And I couldn't say that with confidence when I was in middle school, high school, college, or even graduate school. Wow. My creativity is unmatched. I surround myself, and I don't know everything about everything, but my creativity is unmatched. And I surround myself with a brilliant team who have their forte in their respective areas, but we're still not seen. And that's a challenge that really hit me in my face in 2020. So what's been the beauty of, and y'all been in public schools, I always talked in class because once I had the concept down and the teacher was like 2 + 2 = 4, I was like, so my grades have always protected me, right? I set the curve in class. Well, I failed a whole lot of classes with flying colors too. Let's not be deceived. But my dad taught me failing does not make you a failure. So my grades always protected me from the isms.
Ooh.
Right. And so now as a professional, your work will always speak for you, but it's cracking that door open, right? So that your work can be seen. And so what I saw a lot of, I'm an entrepreneur now, I'm a small business owner. I decided to merge this public health with consulting, with health communication. So I have full confidence in all the work that we do. The work will always speak for itself. But I just saw in the midst of this pandemic, I was like, I felt like the cleanup woman. The cleanup woman, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just feel like all of these things are going on. I'm like, hey, see us, hey,
yeah.
hey.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the point where people are like, oh man, we kind of missed the mark. Hey, so Pillar Consulting. And I'm just like, on a regular day, I'm like, oh yeah, of course we got you. And I'm just like, imagine if we lived in a world where the resources and the efforts that need to be developed and designed to shift and move institutions and organizations and help people, if from the get, it went to the folks who are kind of closest to the pain or come from communities that are closest to the pain. So yeah, that has not ended. And I don't think any woman of color in any industry will say it's a cakewalk. We live in a society where it wasn't designed for us to be where we are. Let's be frank. The fact that you just held up that diploma, bro, that wasn't supposed to happen in 1619. Let's be clear. Right?
Wow. Really?
So we cracked this egg open and have done amazing things that I know our ancestors would be proud of. That's you saw me stare at you for a good 4 seconds, but that's the work though, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
I love it.
That is awesome. So Dr. Banks, I'm a firm believer that talent is everywhere, opportunities are not. And I love the point that you made. When you're doing the work, your work speaks for you. You don't have to say too much. And when we continue to show up and show out in spaces, hopefully that opens the door a little further for the next person, that the next chocolate or brown or caramel person, you know. I love how you owned and were unapologetic when you said, I'm a brilliant Black woman. I love that. That confidence is half the battle. And I say that because I have been in spaces with all different types of people. And I've seen other cultures embrace that confidence. They're unabashed to say how they feel. Like they don't hesitate to put their hand up. And be in spaces where I was kind of, I knew the answer, but people that can be loud and wrong. Okay with doing that. They're encouraged to do great guests and all that kind of stuff. I want us to get better at adopting that mindset. I want them to be, well, first of all, I want them to be loud and right. Be loud and right. But that is in our DNA. We look throughout the history of us. We are brilliant. You know, it's in our creativity is there. And especially if you've come from an under-resourced, underserved background, you have had to innovate, improvise, use creativity to survive. That is innate in us. Now imagine what we're doing, to your point. If you give us resources, we're already taking it without them. Imagine those resources are there. So I love it.
Well, y'all can see that I'm gonna speak softly.
Are we loud?
I'm not gonna be loud and wrong. That's one thing. Hey, we got the CEO of Pillar Consulting, FAMU graduate, Boston University graduate, UNC Chapel Hill. You know, our father went to UNC Chapel Hill.
The connections are evident. I did went to high school.
Oh wow!
Mr. Harrison is all in the chat. Hey, Mr. Harrison. He
Mr.
said you owe him a
Boston. Shout out to Denby, the best guidance counselor, Denby High School, Mr. Eric Harrison.
Hey, Mr. Harrison. Hey, Black excellence, correct? And we hopefully we gonna have him on season 2. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna be in the chat for him.
he said ask out to be about the Frosty.
I knew it was coming. So this is the story as my mother tells it.
Oh, okay.
I've always been driven. I just didn't always have direction. And so apparently, I don't remember this, Kelly brothers, but apparently my mom could not get me to sit down and apply for college. Like she kept saying, my family calls me Lisa. My middle name is Talisa. Lisa, are you going to apply? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to do it. She went and talked to Mr. Harrison. I didn't know this till like 10 years later. She went to talk to Mr. Harrison and was like, so she's just not. And so Mr. Harrison told her, I got it. And so I'm silly, I was very active in school. I was president, Spanish club, math club. I didn't go home after school, band, track, you name it. And so Mr. Harrison would say, hey, when you go to lunch, bring me back a Frosty. And then, I got a computer here and you come just, check out schools if you want to. I ain't know any better. So we went to Wendy's. I got my junior bacon cheeseburger, fries, no salt, Sprite, got Mr. Harrison his Frosty, came back. And then that's how I started looking at HBCUs. I started looking at colleges. He never, ever was like, so TikTok, what are we doing? What are we doing? And so went from there to applying for just about every scholarship in Newport News. I got a scholarship from the AKAs. I got Distinguished Citizen from Kappa Alpha Psi. Like, there we go. All from the Frosty. He was slick with that.
Okay.
That's you a master when you a vet, when you a master counselor, you a master teacher, you teach kids so slickly and so subtly, they don't even know it. You see, they forget that, hey man, you learn. But if you call it learning, then people will be like, no, I love it.
And I asked him, I was like, do you remember this? And he was just like, I got so many students, Bobby. But to me, it was just like, that was genius. Because to this day, Bobby could eat some food. He knew it was food. He knew it was food. And an incentive to play with technology. That's all he needed. Like, that was it. It was genius.
Oh, wow.
All right. Let's talk about this right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison, for obviously linking us up. This is Bobby. We've been. I'm talking about. We've been ever since we have started talking. We have been laughing and joking. We've been having a good time. So you're a CEO, adjunct professor, and you have a platform. I want our viewing audience to understand that we are in the presence of Black excellence. I'm just gonna keep on saying it because it is what it is. But Dr. Bahby Banks has been on TED Talk. Let me let that sink in for a second. See, I don't think some of y'all heard. She's been on TED Talk, and I mean, do you speak multiple languages? Do you speak Spanish too? You know what? I'm just gonna.
Look, that's all I. Look,
I mean, what else really can you say?
Hola, that's about it. And I was in Spanish at them, and that's no diss to the great Spanish teachers that we had at Demi. I think Miss Carter was one of them, but yeah,
Corinth, she wasn't there when you was there, Bobby. That was what.
but Black don't crack though. You look young.
Wait a minute, hold on.
You seasoned. That's not your season.
When we first started talking, how she tried to play us? Y'all went.
It was he basically said like we was born in 2000. That's
So look, because we thought we were so dope because we were born in 79 and then we graduated in 97. So it's like this palindrome, right? So when people say something in the thousands, it's just like. And I know it literally is 3 years away from like we got, but it's still just like.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, you was out when the Delphonics and
no, but it's just because you was born. Like,
people always hate on the finest, and when I tell you there's no class like let me text a couple people. There's no class like 1997 that came out of Denby High School. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but if you do some Wikipedia pages, I bet you the class of 1997 is clearing stuff up.
I got you.
Arthur, see, Dr. Banks is 3 days away from being an 80s baby like both of us. But
Yeah.
Like,
But we
got blurry messing with y'all. Hold on.
All right, can you tell us a little bit about your TED Talk experience and your platform, motivational speaking, and all that in between?
I'm playing with y'all because I don't get to have 3 panels on my screen.
Oh, this we about to tear it up tonight.
Ask Mr. Harrison if I changed since high school. This is how I came in his office. Okay, motivational speaking and TED Talk. So, I knew in 2003. I've always been invested in young people. I've always been invested in people, right? Because one of the biggest lies I feel that we have bought into in this life is that like we don't belong, right? You don't see yourself reflected in textbooks. You don't see yourself reflected on TV. You don't see yourself reflected on images of beauty anywhere. So you don't quite know, right? Going back to that brilliance and that excellence piece, unless you're raised in a household where your parents like, but you also can't teach what you don't know, right? So as I started going through school and like seeing like, what you mean this man discovered America, but people on land already? When he like just started piecing stuff together, like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. So part of what I've always done is invest in other people and let them know like, ain't nothing wrong with you. Like, do you know who you are, right? And so back then I was like, hey, there's 2 things I want to do. I want to be a motivational speaker and I want to be like an independent consultant. I knew that. I said it out of my mouth probably 2005.
Wow.
But I knew it earlier, right? Speaking. That's what my TED Talk is about, confidence and speaking things. And so one of the things that I did after I graduated, and Mr. Harrison, can I put you on payroll? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So one of the things I did after I graduated and before I went to the working world, Mr. Harrison was like, hey, do you want to come talk to the high school students? And so we went on a tour of all of these schools in Newport News. I had my business suit on and went to, I don't know if we went to Woodside. I don't even know if we went over there. I don't know if we went to Woodside.
I'm not going to do this with y'all.
But
this is cyberbullying right here. This is
sit still. Every time I come, I'm blurred. Sorry, y'all. So yeah, we went to all of the schools and just seeing the reaction on the babies' faces of, hey, I went to the school up the street. You ain't got to go to college, but you got to have a plan, right? And so seeing body language, Mr. Harrison sent me pictures and you see it in their eyes like I'm you. And I told him that day, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. Now, I don't know what kind of income I'm going to make running around to these high schools, but like, this is what I want to do. I want to have a platform to empower people. And so one of the things that I do is make vision boards, and on there I had TED Talk. To me, that was a huge platform to talk to people. It's been on my vision board for years. And I finally saw one in Hilton Head and I was like, you could drive there. And so what I talked about was confidence. The things that I know I grappled with and my clients grapple with and young people grapple with. So I hopped my happy self in the car and drove down to South Carolina. Is very interesting, but I drove down there.
Yeah.
Did the talk, blew it out the water, and one thing checked off the list.
I love it. Yeah, definitely. Hey, everybody, definitely check it out. You can find it on YouTube. Solving the Confidence Conundrum, TED Talk hosted by Dr. Bahby Banks. I'll definitely encourage you to check it out.
Arthur, real quick, I want to decode. Shout out to Amber Ivy from last week. I want to decode some stuff that Dr. Banks just said. Dr. Banks said that she had a vision board. So it's biblical, write the vision, make it plain.
Right.
And then, she also
better pull that vision board out. I love it.
Look, she had it ready.
What TED that?
Hold on, I see it.
Wow.
That's ideas worth speaking. So with that, she also talked about how you have to speak stuff. right? You got to say stuff. What you say can manifest, right? And I just love that. I love that story because I feel like me and Arthur are in that season now. Like we've said before, well, I know I've said, and I actually just told someone yesterday, I want to get into consulting. I really said that. I said, I don't want to be an employee forever. I want to be able to be a consultant and use my skills, talent, and ability to help others. And I've had that idea for a while, but then Mr. Harrison made the connection to somebody that is a consultant, that has talked on the platform, that's been a motivational speaker, like me and Arthur have talked about since Delmar Lane. So, I mean, everything just happened for a reason. So, kudos to what you're doing, the impact that you're making. I already know this was supposed to happen. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Happy to serve.
Thank you for that. This is a podcast. People will see this whether they're watching live or later. But this is for us. This is for me and Corinthian, really. I mean, to be linked with someone of your caliber, and just to know that good things can come out of Newport News. Good things can come out of Uptown. Good things can come out of downtown. Good things can come out of Midtown. I mean, where me and Corinthian grew up, the neighborhood we grew up in, a lot of those people did not make it out. They didn't have a vision. And as Corinthian talked about the vision in the Bible, but without a vision, people perish. So they didn't have any vision, and we could clearly see that. But our parents held us obviously in the church, but they held, they were both educated. My dad went to UNC Chapel Hill. My mom went to Virginia State. And we were surrounded by so many things that could have pulled us in so many different directions, but we kind of like stayed that course. And, I know you said you didn't know how much income you were going to make for talking, but the thing is, you're impactful. So that income versus impact. And I just love it. And I appreciate you and thank you for this. Right now, you are in another phase in your in consulting, and you have drop-in, and you have, what is it, not a host? Not a host. And if you
got a lot of things,
you got a lot of things going. If we want to delve into a couple of those things, and we want you to definitely tell our viewing audience what this drop-in is all about, and not a host, and then we're gonna go from there.
Okay. So my company's called Pillar Consulting. I was very intentional about, honestly, all of my brands. So if you search my name, there's BahbyBanks.com. I have that brand. There is Pillar Consulting, RTP.com. That is my company. And there's Not a Host, which is an initiative of Pillar Consulting. So I was very intentional about Pillar as the name and the image for this consulting firm, because our mission is to build capacity, to encourage innovation, and to foster change, period. So we got your back, right? So we'll teach you how to fish. We'll help bring some creativity and innovation to your work, and we're going to make some change. That's what we do. And so it's a direct link from that leader at Denby High School to that girl who learned about brilliance at an HBCU, like, hey, look at us, to epidemiology, seeing numbers and seeing that wasn't enough, to engaging with communities and seeing, like, I think we need to address this in a different way, right? Or this person's doing this great, like the Black Doctors COVID Consortium. I have had coffee today. The Black Doctors COVID Consortium in Philly, who from day one were just like, we need these COVID tests out here in the community. So like, folks are out here doing the work. Let's see what they're doing. And so that's what my company does. We work with organizations, we work with nonprofits, we work with rural clinics, we work with large institutions to say, hey, this is what you're doing well. This is what you could do better based on data, right? This is how you engage with communities. This is how you craft good messaging. Like, why are we still talking about abstinence only education is a mystery to me. But anyway, we know what works and we know what does not,
Yeah.
right? And so I've done that work for 7 years. I've worked with the likes of Harvard. I've worked with small rural clinics. I've worked on all five. I'm not trying to go to some continents. I've been on 5 continents. So I work as global. This little black girl from Debbie High School has a global research consulting firm, right? And so last year, this multilingual girl who plays drums and likes karaoke, this little nut right here. So anyway, I told y'all who y'all was getting tonight. So what I saw, and I'd be remiss if I did not say, this is an effort of a team. I'm the leader. We got a team. We have brilliant folks who reflect the populations we serve, right? We've been doing this for 7 years. You talk about a leap of faith, 7 years. Ain't been easy, but it's the work that I wake up and I'm happy about most of the time. Some people get on my nerves. But anyway, that's in my confidence conundrum talk. You'll see that too. I love people, but there's some who, gee, like, okay, so.
And she's a singer, y'all.
Oh,
Here.
karaoke. I know karaoke. So what happened last year when I saw this pandemic coming, and I'm looking at my other folks who are also epidemiologists, and we like, everything you learn in class is evidence, data, move, right? This joker is here. The same folks who are disproportionately impacted on a regular day, let me not use my big word. Look, the same folks who got jacked up lives because of the places they were born by no fault of their own are about to catch the brunt of this. If we don't get prevention in place now, it's a wrap. And it didn't happen. The next month didn't happen. Next month didn't happen. So I was like, we can do a little something. Like, so the campaign that I came up with is called Not a Host, HOST. Don't let your imagination go to places. Not a Host, notahost.com. And I can be with the best of them with intelligence, but intelligence is also red light, green light. Stop, go. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I think there's a way to make this plain for folks, right? Everyday folks, and let's throw some cayenne pepper on it. Let's throw some Texas Pete on this messaging. Like, I'm tired of, I wash my hands 50 times on a regular day, but I'm tired of hearing wash my hands, right? So host, if you think of it, is in 2 ways, right? So at the height of the pandemic, they told you stay yourself at home.
I get it now. Not a host, oh my God. I just had an aha moment.
So, but it's 2 ways, right?
Yeah.
And then the acronym is NOW. I'm about to break it down. So you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. Pillow Consulting don't play. My team is no joke. So at the height of the pandemic, what they tell you, sit yourself at home. Don't have a lot of people at your house. If you're in a multi-generational home, we get it. You got your cousins, your grandma, whoever. Don't have people at your house. This is a respiratory airborne disease. You try to get around stank breath on a regular day. This is a highly fatal virus, right? So that's one host. Like, whatever you call yourself, come through, meat on the grill, bring your ice. Just don't do it right now. Just don't do it. And then the other piece, where that biology background, that epidemiology, I was just like, I don't think people understand this asymptomatic transmission. They don't to this day. I know, because I told you about my homeboy from Newport News who was like, I ain't never had the flu. And I was like, how do you know that? I mean, I wasn't sick. But how did you know that? I didn't have symptoms. Okay, so this is an asymptomatic disease. You're not going to have symptoms either. So you can't walk around and say you don't have COVID or you don't have coronavirus unless you've tested for it and you ain't been around nobody around for 14 days. You can't do that. You don't know that, right? So I'm getting excited. You see, I'm passionate about this. So look, so it's the host don't host an event and then thinking about the virus. Viruses don't just float around here in the air like, They need a host. They need a ticking heart and a warm body so that they can invade your cells and start replicating themselves. That's what viruses do. They look for hosts and they replicate and they mutate. They've done that for way before we have been here, and they're going to do it for way before after we leave here. You are not going to outsmart a virus. So that was our thing. Not a host. Don't have them at your house. Not a host. Do everything in your power to keep this virus out of your body. You do not want to be a host for this virus. Keeping in mind, everybody doesn't have the luxury of sitting at home, right? So this is what we know will lower your risk. Wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay 6 feet away from other people. Because they knew when they started researching this virus that the particles stay suspended in the air for about 4 feet and then they drop. So they gave you 6. Now, what I just tell you? I tell you viruses mutate.
Yeah.
Oh, now people sitting here like, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, you're going to wait till it's 8 feet? Like, what are you waiting for? So that's the Not a Host campaign. Folks get it. Just like Arthur. Everybody we explain it to does that. They're like, oh, I got it. Don't forget it. Don't forget it until we out of this pandemic. I don't care what nobody tell you. And then the other thing is, not a host is nah, right? Arthur, what you say when your friend come by and you don't want him to come in your house? What'd you say?
Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Can't come in.
So
wow.
That's what I thought in my head driving down from probably Zaxby's to here. I don't even know. And I'm not gonna say I'm fully confident with everything. So I fished it to a lot of people. I was like, what you think? And my best friend was like, no, it's cheesy. And then everybody else was like, drop that now. Like drop that right now. That's what we've been doing since I started working on this in March, started mobilizing people, April, May, June. We started pitching it to folks in August. And we got support from the Maya Angelou Health Center for Health Equity to do print materials, launched a website, got social media handles, got support to lead health literacy for the state of North Carolina. So that's the drop-in hours. Gosh, man, we don't have enough time. So Arthur,
let's talk about the drop-in. I'm trying.
All this is for the love of our folk, man. Y'all can't be out here dying for lack of information. Can't happen.
My people perish for the lack of knowledge. You're right. I mean, wow, this is
can't happen. But it ain't the people's fault all the way around. I keep missing this camera. I'm getting excited. So anyway, look. Okay, so look.
After you go there, you can answer the question from Akia Lachey. Thank you, honey. Are you all doing things
comfortable over here now?
Are you all doing things differently now with the Delta variant? And you can answer that after you talk about the drop-in hours.
Okay.
All right.
So drop-in hours is the digital space, right? So this is a multimedia campaign. We're digital, we're print, we're working with radio as we speak. This summer is gonna be wild. So part of drop-in hours is like, look, folks are zoomed out. I'm only in Zoom with y'all because y'all cool. Mr. Harris talking about y'all. You from Newport News. Folks are tired of being on Zoom. I don't care if it's for Zumba or your job or your childcare. The last thing you want to do is get on and do a town hall or Zoom. So we try to make it a space where it's like, kick your feet up, bring your questions. So the whole concept is drop-in hours. I'll talk fast. The whole premise is, look, we're bringing the experts to you. Ain't gonna get no better than this. It's not gonna get any better than this. They're going to drop in. They're going to drop their credentials. So you know that, like our first speaker, physician out of Meharry, worked at CDC for 20 years. Her husband was the whistleblower for the Tuskegee syphilis study. She's an epidemiologist and she's still walking around with her mask on. What you gonna do? Yeah. They drop the knowledge and then they drop the mic, right? So Randy Watson coming to America. That's your one call to action because it's a lot of information, right? And so what do you need to know when you walk away from here? So that's drop-in hours. Y'all come on July 28th. It's going to be a good time. It's simultaneous translation. So it's in English and Espanol, Spanish. And as we continue to grow, who knows what other language we'll have. But this is for the folks who are most disproportionately impacted by the epidemic. To talk about the Delta variant, that's why we are keeping this campaign going. That's why we're going to keep drop-in hours going. For those of you who aren't familiar, we're on the Delta variant now. So I just told you 2 things. Viruses are looking for a host so that they can replicate. They get in your cells start replicating. Like, it's a mess. They mutate. So scientists have given the mutations Greek letters. We're on Delta. No, we're Lambda. The longer this virus is out here untamed, and has an opportunity.
The virus is a frat.
Yeah, but pretty much.
So we have fraternities.
Pretty much. That's how they set it up. And have given like, and when we run out of letters, like, what are y'all?
Okay.
Right? So the question was, are we doing anything differently for the Delta variant? So education-wise, absolutely. Our experts who are coming on July 28th are going to talk about that. Behavior-wise, I haven't changed anything from the beginning of this pandemic. I told y'all about my experience in Australia and how I move. I go off of dots connecting, right? I go off of evidence, right? And so if we have time, I'll tell your listeners a funny story about Australia. But until we have hit a place where we have more vaccinated than unvaccinated, I'm not out here breathing air mixed with variants, and I'm clumsy on a regular day. So I continue to wear a mask. In fact, I was communicating with Arthur and Corinthian. I was traveling out of town, and we're kind of joking around. And I think one of you were just like, well, what if I'm outside? And I sent them a picture of me outside on the patio with my face mask on.
Yeah.
Because people want to be like, like, no, I don't want the breast. I don't want the backdraft. I don't want it. I don't want it. So behavior-wise, I've been masked up from the beginning, and I will be masked up until we get out of the pandemic. That's my personal choice, and that is a public health. That is public health. That's a public health decision. I'll continue to wash my hands, and I'm limiting my travel, but I have friends who are living their best lives. I'm clumsy. I'm the one who ends up in the hospital every continent I'm on. I've tried every medical system on every continent. I'm not the one. So, yeah. So we'll continue to, as the pandemic is evolving, we'll continue to bring in experts to share. But the message from us as epidemiologists and from people who are treating patients in hospitals and people who have studied viruses has been consistent. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. The misinformation has changed.
Yeah,
but
that has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I know Corinthian got something to say. I just want to say shout out to Mr. Smith, band director, former band director at Denby High School. I was surprised giving a 4-on-1. Shout out to you. And Corinthian is going to go. And then there was another question for you, Dr. Banks. Do you foresee things getting as worse as they were this time last year? But Corinthian, I know you had something to say. Go ahead, bro.
We got the drum major in the building. What?
Y'all, let me be free tonight. This is technique.
We love it. We love it. See, what I love about what you just said, the importance of listening and getting good information from subject matter experts. There's a lot of information about this virus. Some credible, some I have no idea where that idea came from or not. My brother and I had the opportunity to attend your last drop-in hours and loved it because the doctors that you had on that looked like us, I could tell they had a wealth of information and they were backing it up with data, with science, with objective, research. Where do I want to listen to a politician or do I want to listen to the subject matter expert? So the way my brain is set up, I need to listen. I need to follow the data, listen to what the doctor said. One thing that was brought up in the last drop-in hours, if I'm not mistaken, were NPIs, non-pharmaceutical interventions. That's the acronym. Can you speak to those? And I think you mentioned some of them actually. Can you speak to that?
So let me preface that with this. Our whole goal with drop-in hours, and our experts know that. You haven't heard me say this entire talk like, go get a vaccine. I'm not going to do that, right?
Or you can do like Juvenile say.
Why do we do that?
Hey, vaccine.
I'd be on all night.
All right, my bad.
I had so many questions. I'm just glad that the message came from a dating app, not the CDC. I was just like, I said, okay, it's a dating app. They're being fresh, but the commentary that I heard around that was all valid. Like, are you doing that for every demographic? Are you doing messaging like that for every demographic? But I did. I got a chuckle off of it, and I see all angles around that. That messaging doesn't work. We've seen that the vaccine's been out for a year and some change. It doesn't work. We know that there are, with everything, even with technology, you have early adopters and you have the folks who just can't, and won't. Some folks will never get this vaccine. That's their personal decision. But the experts that come to that room, and hopefully you guys saw that in drop-in hours, we made it very clear to them. This is not the space where we are guilting people or coercing people or convincing people to do anything. We're very brilliant. We're smart people. And given the right information, I'm confident that folks will make the right decision. I don't know anybody who will be here this time next year on Area 85 who's still going to be like, I want to drink some ginger tea. I mean, it's up to you. It's your world. But I'm not going to be in this pandemic till 2028. Not going to do it. So, yes, you talked about the NPIs, and I'm so glad they talked about that. We know that some people are not going to get this vaccine. So you're talking mitigation strategies, right? And so some of the things they talked about were behavioral, right? Some of the things they talked about were mental, and some of them I think were around diet. And I'm not going to lie and say I'm familiar on all of those things, but what we know, and this is why I went to get the vaccine, we're not a healthy nation.
Yeah.
Two of my friends in the last week said their blood pressure was elevated and they just went to the doctor on a regular day. And these are not obese people. Okay. Well, we all got our little belly sitting on our toes right now.
Maybe
but
a second chin.
We're not a healthy nation, right? And so even when we're talking about NPIs, we're talking about keeping your body healthy, keeping your immune system strong. And when you have other diseases or comorbidities, was what the scientists call them or doctors call them, your system is just, your immune system is not really compromised, but the extent to which your body can fight is lowered, right? So if you got diabetes, high cholesterol, who knows what else, and it may not be by any fault of your own. It could be that you live in a neighborhood where instead of a Whole Foods, they're 85. I'm not going to name the place. There aren't any healthy options, right?
Yeah.
And you don't live in a walkable neighborhood, and you don't have trees, so you are kind of a product of your environment.
Right. Yep.
So it's a combination of these non-pharmaceuticals, which are exercising, making sure they know that vitamin D is good. Vitamin D is good on a regular day. Get out and get your sunshine. It's good for depression. It's good for your body. If you want to take it as a vitamin D is great. Vitamin C is great. That's not going, I mean, if you've been healthy, good. I wouldn't play with Delta variant and just start taking vitamin C yesterday. That's me. And also, I think he talked about breathing and meditating. I think those are some of the things they talked about. But it's the things that you should, if you have access to these things, these are things you should be doing to stay well anyway. And I know that folks are also taking supplements like elderberries and things like that. Those been working for immune systems, right? I don't know if they're approved by the FDA, but again, if your belly is sitting on your toes right now,
right.
And we're in the middle of a pandemic that is uncontrolled. We're in the middle of a highly infectious virus that is not controlled, and people are mobile now,
right?
And they don't have to wear their masks,
right?
You just gonna pop some vitamin C, and I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
Mm.
So, that we know that for a fact that everybody will not get vaccinated, but you also have to think about the extent to which you are preparing your body to fight, right? And for me, I know I don't exercise every day. I'm clumsy. When they did the restrictions back last March, I had given my last keynote and I saw a woman who I love. She works for the government here. First thing I did was go to hug her. And my best friend was like, didn't you just say it's a whole pandemic? I was like, I forgot. That's me. That's my personal decision making, right?
Can I ask you something real quick? Because I know you said that we're not healthy people, and I'm sorry to cut you off. So I had a question because again, y'all see all those degrees behind Dr. Banks' wall and Corinthian.
Let's turn it towards the fun stuff. I got these maracas in Cuba. I was there playing as part of my samba. I played for a samba band, and that was there from Cuba.
Wow.
Yeah. Bamboo from IKEA, which is not a foreign country.
but look, I need y'all to pick up on some key things she said, right?
Oh, sorry.
What education can do for you.
Yeah.
She'd have been to 5 continents.
Yeah.
Say she'd have been to Australia. She said she got the science stuff from Cuba. You see what I'm saying? If I get some stuff
and Corinthian and Cuba just was opened up recently.
They cracked that door open. We were like, hey. We were like, and then we left, and it was like,
no. All right. So what I was gonna ask was, even if you get the vaccine, but you said that we're not a healthy people or country in general.
As a country,
are your chances a lot of vaccinated people, they're not wearing their masks. Obviously, you don't have to wear your mask anymore if you're fully vaccinated, but you can still get COVID.
Let's take a step back.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Why don't you have to wear your mask if you're vaccinated?
Because the signs say it. The signs say fully vaccinated. The messaging is fully vaccinated people do not have to wear their mask in the store or wherever. I went to the car dealership today, and me, Baylor, and Blake, and the people that worked at the dealership were the only ones that had their mask on.
So this is where I talk about connecting the dots. My journey in public health began with HIV/AIDS work, and the people you trust with your health are you. Is you.
Wow.
Right? You can't expect people to disclose truth to you. A huge part of becoming physically intimate with somebody, whether it's in the context of HIV or anything else, is transparent and honest communication about where you are, right? I met a lot of people with HIV. It was one slip up in the pursuit of love. Married couples, single people, straight, gay. This ain't no gay white. Like, that's where my journey in public health began. So I don't have an expectation of people to do the right thing. And I don't mean this in a conspiracy way. I mean, if I'm walking in a store and you didn't ask me if I'm vaccinated, and you didn't ask anybody else in here if they're vaccinated, but you trust us to trust each other enough to walk around without a mask on. I'll tell you who's not doing that. Dorothy's child. So what I'm saying is, and there's two things I want to make clear, and I'm not a virologist. This is why I bring experts in. I study data. Okay. My background is in biology. So I've taken courses. I know how the immune systems are. I've taken courses in immunology, microbiology. I understand all of that. Right. But common sense is, who do you trust with your health? Right. And so I am vaccinated. I made that personal decision to get vaccinated. I didn't promote it in a million places because I know the weight that a doctor title carries with it. Right.
Yeah.
And I was intentional about not going on webinars where people are just like, can you just come talk about the vaccine? I'll talk to people about informed decision making. That's what I will do.
Love that.
And I've said that to you guys the first time I talked to you. What I'm not going to do is just go get it. No, people have legitimate concerns. Yeah. Let them navigate through their decision. But for me, even being vaccinated, I'm going to wear a mask because I don't trust anyone else when I'm walking around to be like, oh yeah, they're vaccinated too. How are you in a whole car dealership and just you and your child and people, sir, that's that common sense right there. The second thing is, and we'll talk about this on July 28th as well. I don't know that the messaging was clear about the COVID-19 vaccine, right? You get vaccines so that your body can have some familiarity. It's not a stranger to just pop up, right? It's a little teeny tiny piece of the like small piece of the protein that sticks out of it so that your body has seen that booger before, right? They give you a little bit on the first one and it's like, oh, what's this? And folks are like, oh my gosh, I'm having symptoms. And that's how you know your immune system working now.
Right.
I didn't have any symptoms on either one, but my pain tolerance is a whole nother story. The second shot gives your body a little bit more like, okay, you got that first. Now you know, okay, here, bloop, a little bit more. And so that doesn't mean that you'll never get COVID. What it means is that your body has enough familiarity with what this booger looks like that if it hits you, you're not about to be laid out on a respirator. So your risk of death, your risk of serious illness goes down like this if you have the vaccine. And that's what the data is showing. I've seen the data. Like 99% of the people who have died from COVID, the last data I saw from CDC, they were unvaccinated. Right? So I'm looking at data. That's what I'm looking at. So I think the confusion was, and I still see it on posts like, ha ha ha, you know, how do you still get COVID if you got the vaccine? Because because you can. Because you can.
Okay.
But that is the difference between your body being like, dang, you're here, and like, shutting down your liver, your kidneys, your brain, might get long hauler, might be on the respirator, and you don't know. And some people never had symptoms. I'm not just Dorothy's child, Dorothy's little, no. I'm not. And that's why it is a personal decision. I will not get there and be like, well, I hope I'm the person with no symptoms. No, I'm not trying to. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Corinthian. Thank you for that, Dr. Banks.
Mm-hmm.
See, Bobby, that's why from the first time we had a discussion, I mean, outside of you being Black, beautiful, and brilliant, you said in the first conversation, you were just providing great information to people, as good as information as possible. And it's your choice. Once I give you good information, it's up to you to make a decision for what's best for you. And I would want people to want the best information possible to make a decision for them. I love how you said, I'm not telling you one way or another to get it. And to me, that's how you engender trust. You build trust by saying that. Look, I'm just presenting it. I would trust more car dealers. They said, look, I'm not telling you which car to buy. I'm just telling you right up front, this one costs this and this one costs this. And what's best for you. Now, car dealers don't do that.
I had to phone a friend when I got my car.
Yeah, but so I love that, and I love how crisp your messaging is. So what I heard, COVID has been a comedy of errors almost in communication of what to do. I've heard people say mask, don't wear a mask. I heard people say get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. I heard people say 5G is causing vaccine. I done heard you can get microchipped. I done heard just about anything. There was no clarity and crispness in the message. And they need people like you. Like, I would have wished you were the public information officer. Serious.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get to the top. Y'all tell me to call me now.
We want you up there because with how you explain everything, you give that information and empower people to now give you this great information. I've given you the data. I've given you the research. You do what's best for you. But you can't say nobody told you at that point. You see
That's it.
So I love what was shared, and then I love how you have almost, I don't want to say simplified in a way, but you've made it so clear that everyone can understand. You're keeping it simple. Like, you don't need to complicate the thing. Like, just like you said, if you over 300 plus pounds, you just taking vitamin C right now is probably not going to help you. If you got all them cold,
I don't know.
you might, but do you want to risk?
Maybe better off taking Sunny Delight.
I done dipped into new numbers, and I was like, yeah, I'm not playing. Not with this pandemic pounding. I'm not new.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking for almost an hour, so I don't know why you're just tuning in, because we've been live with Dr. Bahby Banks, and it's our season 1 finale. But thanks for kicking it with us. We're not going to take too much of our time, but we are so appreciative of you being on our show.
Oh, Terrence is on here.
What's up, Terrence?
Somebody named Terrence on there. He talking trash.
Well, it might be a couple of people. I can't see all the comments, so it might be some comments that I'm missing. But I want to thank everybody that is tuning in.
See if Terrence. I know Terrence. Terrence, what you having?
Kia said, "Where's Fauci? Fauci? What's it? How are you pronouncing that? Fauci. Isn't messaging supposed to be on a 5th grade level? I don't know if that's the case for this pandemic."
So I think there are lots of lessons to be learned, right? I think everybody's doing the best with the training that they have had and doing the best with the tools that they have. In my opinion, just like not a host is to the left, to the right, same thing can be done with masks, right? One example that I gave, right? And I have stories for days. Look, how much time y'all got? I got stories for days.
Hey,
So
it's your world.
we moved around in the military a lot, right? So I was born in Florida, moved to Virginia, Germany, Utah, back to Virginia, and then I went to college. Utah. My mama said you cannot go outside and play at the pool until it hits 80 degrees. That was a clearly defined.
Yeah.
Don't ask me at 72.
Yeah.
Don't ask me at 77. Don't ask me at 79.9999999. At 80 degrees, you can put on your swimsuit and go outside and play. It is my opinion with this pandemic, when we hit, and the term is herd immunity in the scientific community. I think for the public, it should have been something else like we all safe. I don't know. The message should have been, look, when 90% of the citizens in this country are safe and protected, regardless of where they live, who they are, what neighborhood they lived in, what their occupation is, we're masking up. We're staying at home. The kids are staying in school. That, to me, is very clear. So you don't have, well, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Is it here? What are we doing? Mask on? Mask off? Is it? To me, that would be very clear messaging. That does not factor in economics. It doesn't factor in education. It doesn't factor in keeping the country running. We all need food and groceries. But I think that there needs to be some simplicity, red light, green light, switch on, switch off with messaging to help people understand. Why are you looking around the car dealership and it's like, well, who? Or look, until someone told me in Mississippi, some of the communities are at 20% vaccination rates. That is not good. That is also one of the most obese states in this country.
Wow.
That is not, and I'm not saying obesity is the only thing. There are people who are very healthy who have died. There are people who are unhealthy who have survived, right? But we do know in general, the more diseases you have, the weaker your body is, right? And so, yes, the messaging should be at a 5th grade level. And I remember looking at something that had, no lie, it had like 20 different pictures of masks on it with different colors. And I was like, I got a couple degrees and I'm not gonna look at this.
Wow.
Okay. So to me, it was back to that same, who do you trust with your health? My mask is on until we out of this. That's me. That's me. And so to answer your question, I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned. I think this is where creativity and innovation, we love what we do. And we are happy to be anywhere and everywhere and support people with their messaging. But I think a lot of the messaging with this pandemic has been reactive, right? As opposed to planning. Because when they brought out the vaccine, what did they expect? Everybody to go get it. So it didn't happen. So it's like, okay, so let's try, we're in this together. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Let me ask you this. And Corinthian has something too. For those who have gotten vaccinated, how should they be feeling to us, and myself included, that have not gotten vaccinated? Should you frown upon us and say this is why we're still in the pandemic, or should be more accepting of the choice not to get vaccinated, if we're doing our part to try to help keep everybody safe by wearing our mask and social distancing and everything like that?
I'm not judging people. I don't think we're in places to judge people. I think if it is putting people at risk, then that's a conversation to have with folks. But I have friends who are not vaccinated. I went and visited one a couple weeks ago out in Charlotte. When I sent you guys a picture of me with the mask outside, 30 minutes later, I drove south of Charlotte and I went and hung out with my friend. And we stayed socially distant. We were going to sit out on her patio to eat crab legs, but it was too hot. And she know I don't like heat. And I wasn't going to wait till 8 o'clock. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so I would never be like, girl, you crazy, right? That's not going to change her mind. We know fear tactics don't work. We know shaming don't work. All these politicians and teachers and lawyers and athletes who've been shamed, have they changed it? Like, shaming doesn't work. Right. So I think that it depends on context, right?
Yeah.
If you were in my family and I had an elder in my home and everyone made the decision to get vaccinated to protect that individual and you did not, I'll probably talk about you. You are not going to wait out this pandemic, right? It's here. And so thinking about the NPIs, I think that Corinthian brought up are very important to consider. You're not going to outsmart a virus. Like it's in my opinion. This is Bahby Banks, who is not a virologist. I think there are just layers of complexity that, in my mind, my opinion, make it harder and harder to reel this thing in, right? So you have vaccinated, unvaccinated. You have people going to work, people going to malls. You have babies going back to school. You might not have to wear a mask. You might need to wear a mask. Oh, you can travel. Oh, I just saw on the news that there was a wedding and 2 of the guests came from India and had COVID, and then 93 of the people got. So it's just like, I don't see this being pulled back in. And I think that's the worry. And so at some point, judgment or not, we just got to make some public health decisions. Okay. I'm not judging my friend. I told my friend from Newport News, I talked big trash about him. He was just like, I don't know what's in the vaccine. I was like, well, what's in those cheese crackers you eating right now? Sodium, maca, naga. I mean, we both cracked up, and he realized how ridiculous it was. Like,
I mean, you weighing on me. You
no, that's not my goal. And I want to be clear on that. Like, that's not my goal. But when you talk to people who are nurses or doctors and folks are on their way out or they present at the hospital and they're just like, I didn't know. Yeah. And it ain't my job to try to save the world, but that to me is just like, dang. Like if you knew and you just like, no, that's different. Yeah. But if you just like, but I thought I couldn't get it, or I thought if I did, or I thought, and to me, to me, there are very simple ways to convey this information so that people get it. And if they still decide no, that's fine. Don't come around my house. No. I want to make that clear.
Yeah,
my job is not to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. One thing that you have convinced me to do, and I think it could possibly be a possible solution to some of the communication problem. You know how there was a huge, you mentioned HIV and AIDS, the huge public health crisis that was. From that, some of the messaging was get tested. It was a huge get tested campaign where it came saying,
status.
You go and get tested anytime to primary care. All right. That same thing to me can be for COVID-19. So the getting tested regularly is something that I think 9 out of 10 people would do, because that way you know. So now if I know to isolate, I know to quarantine, I know to be more. But we're walking around and, like you said, you could be asymptomatic and have no idea that you're carrying and out here willy-nilly. So
I think that's a good parallel. I'm gonna drop 2 quick nuggets on that. So HIV AIDS is still very much here. It's not like gone. And there are people who don't get tested because they don't want to know their status, because they don't get regular services on a regular day. And if they have HIV, where are they gonna get their care? Right. So there are people who don't get tested. There's still a pretty significant percent of folks who are walking around with HIV and don't know. Because you could be an asymptomatic carrier with that too, right? That joke is hiding in your brain, like latent or hidden. But that campaign, the fact that you can remember that, right? Know your status or get tested. I've talked to grown men who are scared to get the test because they don't want to know, right? Grown women don't want to get the test because they don't want to know. So that takes you back to like, dang, what stigma is associated with that? And I had a friend who had COVID, and I had 2 people. It was like, who got COVID, and I was like, ah! And I got tested. I mean, I was fine. But she said, the guilt that you feel that you could have killed somebody is what people don't talk about. And she kept blowing up my phone like, are you fine? Are you fine? I'm fine. She came by for a drop off. Actually, no, I told you about the Denby High School. We had our silliness, and it was just like the gravity of knowing you could have taken somebody's life is bad, and people don't talk about that. Like, you have to think about all of the people you have been around and go through mentally all of the folks you could have infected. The second piece, Corinthian, is that HIV is a sexually transmitted disease. You have to be intimate with somebody. Blood, breast milk, semen. Coronavirus is airborne. We talking about a whole different beast.
Yeah.
So and this is what this pandemic has highlighted. We did a whole lot of funky breathing on each other. Right? So it is a virus, but it's transmitted a different way. And so that to me was the danger for me. And knowing I could walk through possibly 4 feet of them particles still floating before they hit the ground, right?
Yeah. And
to me, there are just too many variables that are juggling out here for me to not just be like, boop. And
yeah,
I knew I was not going to be the first with the vaccine. I told you that with the Australia story, but I'm also a military brat, and we get shot up anyway. So like, I pulled my immunization record the other day, and I was like, I would have died in some countries if I didn't. Let me tell you something. Right. In the hospital, admitted, like, but I still had my hesitations about it. And so these are things you got to think through, Corinthian, right? HIV, person to person, you're exchanging bodily fluids. Coronavirus, somebody could touch the same doorknob as you. You touch see how you just touch your nose? I'm glad you did it. We do it all the time. And I'm convinced that people are just like, but I didn't talk to anybody. I bet you touch the same ink pen, you touch the same doorknob, you touch the same gas pump, and then you did this because we do it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why the doctor's office,
I ain't got no data.
Yeah, that's why the doctor's offices and the dentist offices, if you had to sign something with a pen, they let you keep the pen. They didn't want the pen back. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I'm convinced. I did one in-person talk a couple weeks ago. And I walked in and I was like, so did I miss a memo?
It was like the car dealership.
The two people in there who kind of know what's going on, the epidemiologist and the physician who treat people had on masks, and the elderly woman. Everybody else was like, oh, I'm cool. I was like, really? Everybody gonna breathe everything? But the bigger thing was sign-in sheet, everybody used the same pen. And when they came to mic me up, I was like, so have you cleaned this? So we all talking about, I don't trust nobody. You trust people a whole lot. You had
the preacher's mic. You had that.
I was like, where are the Clorox wipes? And then the little, I don't know what it's called, that goes over the mic. I said, sweetheart.
Yeah.
If y'all gonna be doing in-person events, you got to swap these out, because you're not seeing this, but you got everybody talking over the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, what? Nah, y'all ain't catching me outside. Yeah. I don't trust any of y'all. No, sir. And call me what you want to call me. No.
Hey, she was giving the preacher's mic. You know how the pastor, they keep that same mic over.
And then they were doing that, right? So people in the audience had the mic and they were passing that. And I'm just like,
yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say I'm not doing no Armageddon, but you're not going to outsmart a virus. It's everywhere.
Hey, Dr. Banks, you have been awesome, and you have just displayed a wealth of knowledge to our viewers. If you weren't with us live, you need to watch this episode. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Hey, we're just gonna let you shout out your drop-in hours for the audience again, because we want y'all to drop in so they can drop the mic.
All right.
You're July 28th.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
And can you let them know how they can register for your drop-in event?
Sure. If you go to www.notahost.com and you go to that website, it'll pop up. Register for drop-in hours.
Or you can go to this one.
Oh, or that, no. Yeah, all of those will take you to the same place. I'm growing businesses. I got brands. They got bands. I got brands.
Hey, you you dropping bars?
So,
Okay.
but yeah, or there's a notahost.com is the best place to go.
Okay.
Or any of the social media pages. Don't be a host. You can register there. We would love to have you. This is a space. If you've had questions, come ask your questions. Like, come ask your questions so that you can make the best decisions for you and your loved ones. We are not out of this pandemic. Just because you don't see it, don't mean it's not happening. Folks are still getting sick. This Delta variant. I know it's more contagious. I don't know if it's more fatal. I have not looked at that data. But again, this is a virus that spread through air.
Yeah.
Air, not semen, blood, breast milk, air. And so just think about air that you're exchanging with people. And if you trust other folks outside of your household to be like, oh yeah, they vaccinated too. Just think about it.
Oh, I love it. Hey, we want to get you back on again. Hopefully
Come
season 2, because we're gonna talk about some other stuff too, because we gonna cut up.
Let's do it.
To hear this.
Newport News, love y'all, man. Thanks, Mr. Harrison.
Oh man,
y'all want me to stay on? I need to behave. What y'all need me to do?
No, you good. We about to go. Correct. What you got?
oh man, this was you blessed our soul tonight. So shout out from one patriot grad to another. Thank you so much.
No problem.
For dropping the mic, blessing us with your brilliance, your thoughtfulness, your data, your research. So we really appreciate it. So thank you.
No problem.
Love
Tell
it.
your folks, if anybody else is trying to figure all of this out, we are trying to create a space to help clear that up, to clear up that haze.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, we're gonna drop in. We're gonna drop in. We'll be there the 28th. We're gonna drop in with you.
Arthur, you didn't tell him you had your notepad out.
You know what? I was taking notes.
Corinthian was over there like
I was I be doing.
I said,
I was
Arthur, get your information.
Arthur
Corinthian was like NPI.
No, I perked up for that.
I saw your reaction. I saw you put the reaction on. That's why. Look, come learn the information. I'm here for it.
Have y'all seen
Cornell notes? Mr. Harrison said Cornell. Yeah, I was taking Cornell notes.
Have y'all seen that Martin episode with Varnell Hill on there? And then Varnell is jotting. And he was like, Martin, like,
yeah. Martin was like, "What's up?" He was like, "What's up?" That's funny, man. Yeah. He was copying all his material. That's what I was doing. Yeah.
Get your lessons, as my mom would say. That's all we're there for. Just come get your lesson.
It's the season finale, guys. This will be our last episode for season 1. I can't believe we did it, man. And what a way to end it with Dr. Bahby Banks from Newport News.
Look,
hometown girl.
Yes. Appreciate y'all.
5 continents.
Say what?
5 continents.
I'll tell y'all the Australia story next time when I come play with y'all.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Keep swinging, Crank.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hey, man, that was an awesome episode, man.
Hey, look, man. Hey, Arthur, it's been a pleasure this season 1. I'm actually gonna retire now. When people,
you getting out of
the game, and you just gotta say it while Aaron Andrews is interviewing you. Be like, I'm gonna retire after this. Oh man, it's been so awesome, man. Like, now a lot of people don't know my brother Arthur books all this talent, man. Arthur be reaching out to these people. I just show up and have my jacket on. Arthur book schedules the bookings, the awesome talent that we've had. We done had 3-4 doctors, MPA police officers, majors in the U.S. Army. I mean, we done had some folks throughout the season that have definitely blessed our viewing audience, but Arthur does a lot of our promotion. No, Arthur does 99% video editing and all. which helps me as I'm getting settled in my new role. So I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
No problem, man. I think we found our niche, man, and
Yeah.
you know we gonna keep going. We dedicated. We said we had a goal, had a vision of what we want and what we want to accomplish, and we just gonna keep going.
Yes,
and along the way, we can just see it getting added. You know, I think the scripture said in the Lord added daily those that should be saved. So hopefully we just gonna keep getting added. You know, what we need, what we want to see. What we want to promote, what we want to do, the media, the technology we want to use. I just see it all coming together, man.
Hey, look, Arthur. I'm gonna close with this testimony. Look, I got reached out to this week from the director of Upward Bound Math and Science at WSU. And he reached out because he had seen our podcast and our shows, and he said, I'm seeing what you guys are doing. I want y'all to be a community partner on the grant that I'm writing for. And I said, man, okay, well, what does that look like? He said, well, we like to have speakers and presenters do workshops for us. Can you and your brother do one, at least one for us? I said, definitely. You know, let's we can iron out the details. And I said, then I asked, all right, so it's grant funded. I mean, that's a funding stream. He said, yeah. He said, we could possibly write y'all in as consultants.
Yeah.
And he said, consultants get paid a consultant fee. I said, you know,
yeah,
like just like Pillar Consulting.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
it's just off of. I would have never imagined when we did our first impromptu Saturday, it would be that. It would lead to those kind of opportunities. So it's truly been a blessing, man.
Corinthian, thank you for that story, man. I'm serious with this, man. I think this is our calling. Now, obviously, we got careers and everything, and obviously, this has the potential of taking off.
You got family,
your family, everything.
You got coaches.
Yeah. But this is something that we talked about, though. This was something that, hey, man, we should do a podcast. But we were just saying it nonchalantly. We weren't saying it with real validity that, hey, I know how to do this process. We didn't know nothing about the podcast. I think you sent me something. I said, we want to do a podcast, and you sent me something about how to start a podcast. And from that, I just read that and went from there. Now, obviously, there are other ways that we could be doing our podcast, but this is something that I believe was for us and how we wanted to do it. Now, obviously, we're going to keep evolving.
Yes, sir.
But I think we're getting the message across that we want to get across, you know, to our viewing audience.
Yes, sir. The evolution, like to our viewing audience that have rocked with us, kicked it with us from day one. We have been learning on the fly, you know.
Yes.
It's a true blessing. Like from our first show to now, you've seen like we ain't had no banner going across the bottom of the screen and comments. You know, trying to get our microphone situation still square.
Yeah.
Like
pray for us.
And our ring light because with the first now.
It's gonna come, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we've been taking bits and pieces. Like it's just amazing how things have lined up. I didn't know about StreamYard as a platform before I met with Dr. Arnita Fowler and did a presentation via StreamYard with her, where I saw what the platform could do. And I think I shared that with you, and then we took it, you know. So, yeah,
it's coming. And Corinthian season 2, and I just want to say again, thank y'all for kicking it with us for these past 30 some odd episodes. Thank you so much again, Mr. Harrison, for always encouraging, utilizing us, and linking us up with some good people. Season 2 is going to be epic. And I'm not just saying this to promote it and try to get y'all here and it not be anything. I'm being serious. Season 2 is about to be off the chain, and we've already lined up some heavy hitters right there. And I'm just so thankful, man. And if the Lord sees fit for us to do that, we'll be dropping season 2. I think September we said, or September I think. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, we'll be promoting it and let y'all know. But I want to again say thank you to all the viewers. If you have liked, if you have commented, if you have subscribed, if you have sent me a text message, if you give me a phone call, if you said, "Hey man, I appreciate what y'all doing," any of that.
If you have shared, if you shared our if you have shared our recordings, thank you. Thank you. And my only ask for you all, outside of please continue to do that. If you have topics in mind, people that you think could be a great resource or to connect to or to speak to, I mean, if you know me and my brother, we have a heart for this work and a heart for hopefully inspire the next generation, for them to learn from some mistakes that we have made to make the path just a little bit easier and smoother for them. So if there's groups that we can speak to or pour into, we would love to, because that's what we're about.
I couldn't have said it any better. We're about to sign off. Again, thank y'all for kicking it with Kelly's season 1 finale. If you did not watch this episode, go check it out. Thank you again so much, Dr. Bahby Banks. Check her out. You can like, subscribe. You can follow. You can share. Even if you tune in for a minute, that's fine with us. But I think that if you tune in for that minute, you're going to watch the rest of it. This is only the beginning. Hard work. I love that, Mr. Smith. Thank you so much. Hey, I want to hear you play the trumpet, bro. Hey, we'll link. Is that Virginia State alum, Mr. Smith? I think.
Hey,
Virginia State.
You know he a Virginia State grad.
Yeah. I think Battle of the Bay coming up. A Norfolk State, Virginia State.
Mr. Smith play like Maynard Ferguson.
So, hey, I already know, man.
Eyes for pride. We from band camp. Yes, sir.
There we go. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We're gonna keep swinging. Love y'all and have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Peace, man.